What is up, everybody? My name is Isaac Caulfield, and I am the founder of Vantage Legion and partner at the Growth Assistance Agency. And today we're going to be talking about my exact LinkedIn funnel to book 15 qualified appointments per week. And you could take these same exact strategies and funnel and use it to scale your B2B business, your agency, or your coaching or consulting practice. So before we get into it, I just kind of want to show my funnel at work, right? So on the left here, we see, a day, multiple days where I had 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 9 qualified sales appointments in the same day. And obviously that didn't happen overnight, but having worked on this funnel for a couple of years now and learning what works and what doesn't, I have a pretty good handle on how to actually put sales appointments on the calendar on a very consistent basis. So I just want to give a little disclaimer here. This funnel needs the right conditions for it to actually work with maximum effectiveness. And in order for this funnel to work, you're going to need to have a proven and bulletproof offer that has been tested by the market and validated. It's not going to work if you're selling a service, right? You need to have an offer with quantifiable results attached to it. The second thing is that in order for this to work, you're going to have some level of authority in your space and industry, as well as a Rolodex of content, tutorials, whatever it may be, all over the internet, right? The more the better. And if you don't know anything about direct response or outbound marketing, this is going to be what usually gets you deals and calls. Just existing on the internet, being an authority in the space, and taking advantage of the people out there that are looking for service providers and going to be vetting and looking for the right fit for them. So if you don't have any content out there or very minimal content, right, this funnel will probably take at least 3 to 6 months to fully ramp up, and when you implement it, to be able to see, the best results possible and obviously the most ROI. And then lastly, in order for this funnel to work, you need to have previous results and expertise working with clients successfully, right? The best form of social proof is past work and results. I think this is very obvious, but a lot of people get this wrong. They want to put an offer out there. They want to put their services out there where they don't actually have previous results, and then they find it very difficult to actually close deals because no amount of sales ability or sales tactics are going to make up for the fact that you just need to have a good product that has been proven by the market and other clients can speak to the success of working with you and your process in the past. So let's just dive into it. So this is the breakdown of my funnel. Very high level, but it gets pretty extensive. So I'm just going to kind of go through it and explain piece by piece and bit by bit of why exactly this works and what needs to go into it if you want to see the best results with it. So the first thing that allows my funnel to actually book these many calls in a week and works the same way for my clients is the positioning in my content, right? All of my content, every post, every piece of social proof I have on the internet is positioned in a way that is speaking to a certain addressable market about a certain thing, a certain pain point, and trying to ideate what their pain points are so that I can position and pitch my solutions as the best fit for them. So how do I actually do this? Well, I make a lot of tutorials. So I have YouTube videos on my website, all over LinkedIn, all over social media of how exactly I do step-by-step, technical things. So whether that's using SmartLead or setting up LinkedIn campaigns, that would be tutorials. CSIs, client success, interviews, and testimonials are huge. We have few really good client success interviews that we use to show clients primarily when they're in, that third or fourth stage of the funnel in the buying process, just to kind of secure up, the trust factor and getting the deal over the line. But that's another big thing that if you can have those, this funnel is going to work really well for you. Campaign teardown, so actually diving into, a SmartLead campaign or a LinkedIn campaign and ideating, why we're doing certain things, how we're actually setting up the campaigns for success, and then post and engagement on thought leadership. And this is something that I don't think a lot of people look into. Everyone wants the case studies, everyone wants the tutorials, but having thought leadership pieces, how you're managing your team, how you're managing the relationships with your clients. That's huge. And then lastly, lifestyle content, right? People want to be related to, right? People want to see you outside of your business. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What does that look like? So you see a lot of gurus out there, and yeah, it may come across as corny, and it may come across as, oh, these guys are just internet scammers in Miami. There's definitely those guys out there, but for the most part, a lot of these guys are making tons of money and absolutely raking in cash because of their lifestyle branding and the way that they make content specifically positioned to their lifestyle. So once those things are in place, and again, this is something that I've developed over, the past year, and continuously I'm developing. So again, if you don't have anything right now, this funnel probably won't work at the rate that it's working for me and a few of my clients, but the more of this you have out there, the higher chance of success you're going to have. The next thing that bleeds into is the authority, competence, trust, and likability factor, right? So over a long enough time horizon of people seeing your tutorials, your client success interviews, your campaign teardowns, thought leadership, and lifestyle posts, right? Whether they realize it or not, that subconsciously develops yourself as an authority in the space, right? It shows them that you are in fact competent and the person capable of delivering said results, and then builds trust with them. So when you're getting on a call with these people, they feel like they already know you a little bit. They feel like they already trust you, which is huge, especially in the sales process. And then likability, right? I have 3 or 4 guys that I keep up with on the internet all the time. I'm always watching their YouTube videos. I like them. I would do business with those type of guys. That's the effect that you need to have on your clients, especially if you're doing outbound, right? You need to be on the phone with people that genuinely like you, genuinely trust you, see you as an authority and view you as competent in the space. So the next major thing in my funnel that I kind of move all my clients and myself through along is having buying intent connections. Specifically with LinkedIn, this is a lot easier to do than some other outbound channels. But if you can curate and mold all of your connections to be people that have bought from you in the past, could potentially buy from you in the future, or even buy from you right now, depending on what service and offer you have, that's going to be huge, right? Because most of the people seeing that content, right, are going to be those second, third connections that may need what you have, whether it's now or 3 months down into the sales cycle. Having those people in your ecosphere and having those people seeing your stuff on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis is going to be massive when you go to move them along the funnel. And then what this does, once you have buying intent connections, right, is it increases your total addressable market. So a lot of problems that happen to, lead gen agencies, service providers as a whole is they start doing outreach, and maybe they're doing it for a while, maybe they're doing high volume, right? But they run out of TAM. And running out of total addressable market is probably a big issue, because if you don't have TAM, you don't have an ideal client profile that you can service to the best of your ability, right? So by making more connections and building that Rolodex of high intent prospects that could potentially buy something from you, whether it's now or 3 months down the road, without even knowing it, you almost increase your total addressable market. So when you're looking at the numbers and the KPIs, you can still convert leads into closed deals at a high rate while expanding the actual people that you can talk to without always having to change your service and the offerings that you do. And then that leads into the next part of my funnel, which is pain point and ideal outcome ideation. So this is something that I think a lot of agencies need to pay attention to. And if you're looking for an agency, vet them in the sales process. Are they trying to discover your pain points, and are they trying to discover, what your ideal outcomes are? Because the same thing that goes on in the sales process is typically going to be the same thing that goes on when they're doing work for you. So for all of my clients, I begin my sales process by doing some form of discovery, as well as trying to get to the root of their pain and their issues in their business, as well as where they would like to be, in the future, 3 months from now, if we were to work together. And what this does for you is it allows you to, 1, frame your pitch accordingly, but 2, actually get a feedback loop going. That's really important, because whether you're quoting a VSL, whether you have people on your email list, or you're just doing direct response outbound marketing, right? Being able to call out some of these pain points and ideal outcomes in specific markets is going to be huge, when it comes time to get on a sales call with somebody and actually pitch them on your services. So then going to the right, that flows into the third part of my funnel, which is actual isolated direct response outbound, right? Or incubated, I should say. And obviously outbound is outbound. You're talking to, in some form, a cold prospect. But if we completed all these steps correctly and followed the trend and the roadmap that I've been using for quite a while now, by the time you get to where you're actually running incubated outbound, these people should have some warmth. You should have some awareness level about the prospects and vice versa. So when you're actually booking calls, although it is still a cold email, cold outbound message, right, you are getting people on the phone that have some idea of who you are, what you have to offer, and what you can do for them. It makes the whole sales process so much easier. And then that just flows down into the technical aspect of LinkedIn outreach campaigns. This could be used for email, DM outreach, even paid ads to some extent, although I'll talk about that in another video. And then once those campaigns are up and running and you're optimizing them and managing the inboxes on a daily basis, right, you're going to do one of two things, right? The first is you're going to further disqualify people. Maybe they're not a fit, or it's not the right time for them right now, which will then lead you into long-term follow-up in your CRM. So whether you're using HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, whatever your CRM is, you should have two sections, right? The people that you've disqualified, maybe they're not a fit, you can refer them to somebody else or do what you want with them. But then most importantly, the people in follow-up. So this could be a month out, 3 months out, 6 months out, a year out, with people that have actively expressed interest, but it's just not the right timing for them at this time. You want to keep them in your CRM, delivering value, showing up in their inbox, whether it's putting them on an email list. Whatever you have to do to keep top of mind with these long-term prospects is huge, because your deal attribution, on a long enough time horizon is going to be massive if you do this correctly. But ideally, you want to be funneling them down to the next stage in your funnel, which in my case is a very direct response offer pitch, a call to action to book a call, right? And there's a lot of ways about going about how you pitch. I personally have seen the most success and made the most money with direct response pitching. Some people like to go with lead magnets. Other people like to build rapport. Doesn't really matter how you do it, right? It's just making sure that you actually have something worth offering, because if that's not the main priority and that's not something that's dialed in, no matter what approach you take, it's not going to work. But I find direct response to be very effective. It gets deals moved along a lot quicker. It also gives you market feedback a lot quicker as well. So then lastly, I think this part is pretty obvious. The last stage in my funnel is closing or setting up a follow-up call. So by the time that they've seen my content and I've positioned myself accordingly, and then I've had a pool of buying intent connections, and then I actually run outbound to those prospects, right? With the right sales process, and obviously a couple of other factors, but mainly with the right sales process, you should be looking to close these people in one call or 2 calls at most. Typically, I like to see if we could get something done sooner rather than later, because as many of you know, time kills deals. But if you can't get a deal done on the initial call or on the initial point of contact after that direct response outreach, it's important and absolutely crucial that you are setting a follow-up appointment, right? A lot of times you'll get the objection, hey, send more information. Hey, let's circle back, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'll take a look at what you sent, right? And then you go to do that, and then 3 weeks later, the deal's killed, right? Or you're just getting ghosted, right? If you can get some level of commitment, it may not be a buying commitment, and it may not be someone pulling out their Amex and paying you on the first call, but a level of commitment that they, in fact, want to keep the conversation going or intend to close, within a couple of weeks or a month. Setting that follow-up appointment is going to be crucial. And then even deeper, you want to have pre-call flows, post-call flows, right? Regularly sending case studies and sales assets to them. So they are staying warm through the entire process. But like I said, if you can get them to this point, right, you should have a good chance of one call closing with the right sales process in place. And then obviously the offer needs to speak for itself if you're going to close somebody for the first time on one call. And then lastly, the part of my funnel that I am actively continuing to build out and I believe will make me north of six figures within the next 6 to 12 months is collecting data on your offer, the delivery, again, the pain points, and then ideal outcomes, right? And as you can see, this massive arrow on the left flows straight back into top of funnel with positioning and content. So based off the feedback that I get from stages of the closed deals or the follow-ups, or honestly even the DQ phase, right? I need to have an extensive amount of data on both of these things right here, right? Having the pain points, how you're actually delivering the pitch on the sales calls or in the messaging, and then what do people actually want at the end of the day? Because we all know in business you have to sell something that people want. Otherwise, you'll never close deals, you'll never get people to actually want to speak with you. All of that just goes right back into top of funnel once we've iterated a few things and tweaked what we need to tweak, and then you're just running through the same cycle again. So again, this is the funnel that I've been using for quite a while now that is booking me anywhere from 9 to 15 qualified sales appointments every single week, primarily using LinkedIn, but it's also something that you can implement into your business, agency, coaching, or consulting practice right away, and it's going to be huge for you. Like I said at the beginning, those three things are going to be major, and having a sales process that you can close 20 to 30% of the qualified appointments that come onto your calendar is going to be huge as well. But this is definitely something I would implement right away if you're having trouble scaling. If you want this implemented for you and the proven system to book 9, 15, 20, 30 appointments a month on your calendar, book a call in the link under this video, and if we're a fit, me and my team will kind of walk you through more in depth of how this exactly works, how we might be able to do it for you, and then something that a lot of clients like of ours, it is on a performance basis, meaning that you're only paying for the results and the value that we deliver. So if that's of interest to you, go ahead and book a call below, and we'll see if we're fit to help you out. Anyway, have a good one, and I will see you on the next video.